Why are new anime less successful than old anime? Although anime is probably at the peak of its popularity right now, the most popular and most successful shows of all time all come from at least 20 years ago. So why is this the case? Why are no new anime, even though the fandom is the biggest it's ever been, why are no new anime able to surpass the old greats? Well, I think there are quite a few reasons, so today I think we're going to talk about why older anime are more successful than a lot of the newer ones. I have 5 key reasons, and we're going to start with the least likely reason to the most likely reason. Also, let me know in the comments why you guys think it's this way, and while you're down there, make sure to subscribe. You know, I upload anime videos 3 times a week, so there's something for everybody to enjoy. Now, obviously, some of you may be saying it as a whole, newer anime is probably more successful, and that probably is true, but I'm talking about the giants of the giants, that the older gen anime have way more successful anime than the newer gen. And my first reason I do think is because there is so much coming out now. I think back then when a lot of those shows were releasing, yes, there were other anime releasing, but there wasn't that much. Like, you didn't have that much option. And it'll lead me into my next point later that we'll talk about. But I think the fact of back then there wasn't as much to watch, so you were very limited on what you could if you were trying to watch an anime. So I think it was easier for a lot of people to be like, oh, I'm going to start Dragon Ball, or oh, I'm going to start One Piece, or I'm going to start Naruto, because like there wasn't really much else coming out, where nowadays you got a new anime coming out every single week. Now, we'll say there's a lot more slop coming out now, so you got to kind of, you know, filter what you watch, but, you know, there is definitely more coming out now. But another reason those shows were so popular, and a reason I think other than the fact that there wasn't much releasing, is because of their length / story. I think personally, old anime, for an anime to have been made like pre-2000, which I know like Naruto doesn't really count for that, however, it is still one of the most popular, but anything pre-2000, like, you pretty much had to be really good to get animated. You're very rarely going to find an old anime that has a bad story, because it had to be good to get animated. They were not animating anything like they do nowadays. Another reason is, back then, a lot of the times the anime were promotion for the manga, or a lot of the anime they did were shorter, and so you really had very few options on long anime. It was Dragon Ball, it was Naruto, it was One Piece. Those were really the biggest 3 that you could watch, in both the longest and the most popular. And still to this day, those 3 are probably the most popular anime on the planet Earth. Now, many people say, oh, maybe their stories are just better, but honestly, I don't really think that's the case. I think you might be able to argue that with Naruto, but I think there are definitely better stories than One Piece, maybe not many, and there definitely are better stories than Dragon Ball, at least in terms of if you're looking at things objectively. There's probably better stories than all 3 of them. So, you know, not talking from an opinionated standpoint, but from, you know, maybe critic rankings or stuff like that, there's definitely stuff that ranks as a better story. So that's also not really the reason. But we're going to move on to my third point, and this might be the best point. However, I actually don't think it is going to be the biggest reason behind this, and that's it's the first of its kind, really. There was nothing like Dragon Ball before Dragon Ball. There is nothing like One Piece before One Piece, and there still is nothing like One Piece. Like, nothing is like One Piece, right? And there's some stuff similar to Dragon Ball now, but for the longest time, Dragon Ball was the only thing like Dragon Ball. Naruto, the same thing. There was really nothing like Naruto until Naruto, right? So, like, a lot of these were the first of their kind. Also, there's a lot of folklore, like crazy stuff, like with the big 3. Now, I know a lot of people that like Bleach are going to be like, why is Bleach not included? Bleach just statistically is not as successful as these other 3, although it is a part of the big 3. But the big 3 are like legends. The reason they got that name is not because people just wanted to call it the big 3. It's because Shonen Jump was failing, and they needed something to bring them back up, and that's when One Piece, Naruto, and Bleach came around and absolutely revived Shonen Jump. So they are basically legends of the space. Everybody knows them. You got a title like the Big 3, bro, people are going to click on that, right? So, a lot of them really were a first of their kind situation. I think there are not many shows like them still to this day. There are some definitely like Dragon Ball and Naruto. One Piece still hasn't really been replicated. I don't think, well, it's probably because it's still going on. But that may be a big reason. However, I don't think it's the biggest reason, because there are a lot of anime that are first of their kind. Like Bleach, well, actually Bleach is kind of similar to Yu Yu Hakusho, so I won't really say that. Maybe let's go with, well, like Yu Yu Hakusho. Yu Yu Hakusho was the first of its kind. There's really nothing like it. However, it wasn't the most popular. There are many other shows, like Full Metal was the first of its kind. not really anything like that. And don't get me wrong, these shows I'm listing are very successful. They just aren't that top level. So obviously it being the first of its kind doesn't really matter. It does play a part, but at the same time, it's not the most important thing. My fourth reason, and I think this is going to sound kind of crazy, but I'm actually going to go with marketing. In today's world, these shows should have the best marketing ever, but I'm going to be honest, a lot of these anime, because there is so much coming out, and because a lot of them are done by the same studio, the marketing slacks. Like, let's be honest, JJK is one of the most popular anime of the new gen century. Like, it is probably the most popular, other than maybe Demon Slayer, but other than that, like, it's probably the most popular thing. The marketing for it is nowhere near as insane as One Piece, Dragon Ball, and Naruto used to be. Dragon Ball, Naruto, and One Piece used to have like global events going on. They used to have like many different things. They used to make many different games, original games. Like, I feel like the marketing for those anime, especially back then, were just way higher. Like, JJK has some of the biggest new gen fans that you will see ever, yet they don't capitalize on it, I feel like. Also, another issue with marketing is a way things are pushed out, the way they look, and the way things are said. Everybody loves the meme nowadays where like the titles are super long, and yes, having a super long title is bad marketing. I'm sorry. I know that's not really up to the anime, but more the people that make the manga. But if you have an anime title, like for example, the vending machine one, like that time I got reincarnated as a vending machine left in a dungeon or something like that, less people are going to click on that because of the title. I'm just being honest. And if the title is unoriginal, like that time, if it starts with that time, it's not original, and you're going to get less people to click on it. The marketing of newer anime is genuinely terrible. For example, another one, and one that I definitely am way more versed in because I have read it and I have watched it, we have JoJo's Bizarre Adventure with Steel Ball Run. The marketing they are doing is they released a new image of the Steel Ball Run second set. Who gives a shit? We know what the characters look like, because not only do we have the first episode, but why would we care? We have the manga. We know what the characters are going to look like. We had the trailer already. But yes, get us hyped up by showing us a picture of the characters we've already seen. Like, that's something, again, that's pretty terrible for the marketing. What else has JoJo's done since that? Nothing. They have done nothing other than show us a picture of Johnny Gyro, I think Mountain Tim, and maybe Steven Steele was on it too. I don't remember. Like, that's horrible marketing. You're not getting anybody hyped up, but it's because it's another big studio. They have other stuff to worry about, and I think that is another big problem, is that all these studios have a lot of work on their plate. Like, for example, MAPPA, yes, they do JJK, but how many other anime do they do? And I get it, JJK is their most popular, but they don't put all their eggs in one basket like they used to. Like, when Naruto was coming out, they did have Bleach. None of the marketing went to Bleach. It all went to Naruto, and that's probably a reason Bleach wasn't as popular. Bleach still extremely popular, don't get me wrong, but much of the marketing back then went all towards Naruto, not really much towards Bleach. They did try towards Bleach, don't get me wrong, but the budget for sure went towards Naruto. Like, that was undebatable. But we'll move on into my fifth and final reason, and this is probably the biggest reason. I think it's just the new age fandom. I think this could be said about people in general, not even just with anime, but it has become a trend since the internet has given so many people like a freedom of what they can say, that people just like to hate. And I think it causes many people to not give things a try because, for example, JJK coming out, a lot of the old gen watchers, you know how old heads are, they're going to be like, and I'm even one myself, but I don't try to hate. I like newer stuff, but they'll be like, oh, JJK's trash because it's not like Naruto, it's not like One Piece, it's not like Dragon Ball, it's not like the greats, you know what I'm saying? Or you have the anime elitists, which is, I mean, they've kind of always existed, but now they're way more popular. It's like, oh my god, you like a show that other people like you're weird. You should like That Time I Got Reincarnated as a bunny rabbit and sat on a throne or something like they have the anime elitists too. And I think that so many people like it now, and we're in the age where people just feel obligated to share their dog shit opinion, that it just is becoming hard for people to want to watch things. Like, it just doesn't really make sense. For example, I have a friend, like, Naruto's my favorite show, and he likes One Piece, and he watches Bleach, and I'm like, dude, there's no way you wouldn't like Naruto. And he's like, oh, well, all I've seen is just about a bunch of ninjas. Why would I care about ninjas? That's not even like, yes, it is about ninjas, but like, that's not even close to what it's about. They're not even real ninjas, bro. So, you know, I think it's just like a lot of people are being exposed to things the wrong way. Like, what I like to try to do is I don't really take a lot of people's opinions about anime I have not seen. Now, if I have seen a show, I will take it seriously. But like, for example, I want to watch Seven Deadly Sins eventually, and people are like, oh, it's just terrible after like the second season or whatever, you don't need to watch it. I will be the judge of that. Okay, like that's a big thing for me, and I wish everybody was like that. Like I will be the judge of that. If you tell me it's trash, I don't give a fuck. I will try it. For example, like my friend was telling me, don't watch Dr. Stone. I won't like Dr. Stone. I was like, I'm gonna give it a try anyway because I think it looks interesting. I think it has a cool concept. He was right. I didn't like Dr. Stone, but I'm not gonna listen to somebody's opinion before I watch it. But a lot of people do. A lot of people see people talking bad about a show or this about a show, and they will put it in their own head as fact, even though it's all opinion. And I think it's a real big problem that people don't want to start stuff, and that's why the OGs have lasted so long, because they started in an era where that wasn't really happening. You will see people genuinely hate on JJK for the dumbest reasons. Now, if you want to argue, which I'm totally on this side, that JJK is only going to get worse from here, I agree with that, right? But to say JJK is not a phenomenal anime so far, I mean, you most likely haven't watched it. If you didn't enjoy it, then that's fine. But most people that watch JJK will find it to be very entertaining and very phenomenal because it is super popular. It is super good. But it'll never be on that level of like Naruto, Dragon Ball, One Piece, because so many people are in your ear telling you it's bad. People think they're metacritics or whatever and go into the deepest analysis about why this doesn't make sense or why this isn't good or why this is surface level, when that just didn't exist much back then. So I think that is honestly the biggest problem, is that the newer age fan base is incredibly judgmental and very easily sharing their opinion. So many people are getting the wrong idea about these shows. What I would recommend is don't listen to anybody's opinion. If you think something looks interesting, give it a shot. You might like it, you might not. And I think that's the biggest lesson to learn from here. And hopefully one day we'll go back to a time where maybe those shows can be beaten. You know, a lot of people take pride in their top shows, but I want something to be better than Naruto. I want something to be better. If there is something that is better than Naruto, I will be happy with that. So hopefully we can get to a time again where we do get anime that can keep up with the legends of the past. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to leave a like, subscribe, hype the video, you know what I'm saying? I upload anime videos 3 times a week, right? Got my Discord in the description, main channel in the description. Everything you'd want to see more of me is there. Hope to see you guys later or on stream or something like that. I'll see you guys. Peace.